Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Rebecca Reeds, and today we're going to be going over some books that I am super excited to read, and I'm gonna be doing like my predictions of what's gonna happen in them, what are like maybe the themes or characters or just sort of the basic like plot lines that they're gonna follow. I think I have four right now, and so I'm just gonna pick them up, read the back, and then just give y'all like my little synopsis of what I think is gonna happen. And there's gonna be no spoilers unless except for other books in the series if it's a sequel. Like for example, um one of them is gonna be Sunrise on the Reaping, and like that's gonna have spoilers for the Hunger Games. And I'm also gonna be doing Golden Sun, which is in the Red Rising series, and so there will be spoilers for Red Rising. So if you haven't read Red Rising or the Hunger Games, um, then don't watch this video or at least skip those parts. But as long as it doesn't matter whether or not you've read or haven't read the books that I'm going to go over, because again, I can't spoil it because I have no idea what happens. If I do on accident, then great, because that means I did something right, I guess. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is Shatter Me. And I did read the first chapter, so like I know a tiny bit about it, but I still think that this is a good candidate for this video. Shatter Me is very popular, and I've heard a lot about it, and I know the basic premise. There is a dystopian society, and then the main character, when she touch the spoiler, I guess, but it's on the back, I'm pretty sure. Um, if she touches people, then they die. And I guess the love interest or the boy or whoever the other person is it doesn't die when she touches them, according to just things I've heard all over Book Talk and BookTube. So, for Shatter Me in the first chapter, the only thing that's really happened so far is she's in the cell, and then she gets a cellmate, and it's this boy, and he's I don't know, he's kind of being a jerk in the first chapter, but then he tells her like I'm not gonna hurt you, and she doesn't believe him, which I was like, yeah, I wouldn't either. But anyway, so I'm gonna read the back to y'all real quick just before I start making my predictions. The moon understands what it means to be human, uncertain, alone, cratered by imperfections. No one knows why Juliet's touch is fatal, but the re-establishment has plans for her, plans to use her as a weapon. But Juliet has plans of her own. After a lifetime without freedom, she's finally discovering a strength to fight back for the very first time, and to find a future with the one boy she thought she'd lost forever. In the electrifying first book in the Shatter Me series, Tahara Mafi presents a riveting dystopian world, a thrilling superhero story, and an unforgettable heroine. Okay, so I will say that the main thing I've heard about this book is Aaron Warner, and I don't know anything about him. I don't even know if he's the same character as the one that just came in the cell or whatever. I have no idea, but I can make some guesses based off of what I've heard and on the first chapter and the back of the book. So, first of all, it says that they're using her as a weapon. So, obviously, it makes sense if she can touch people and they die, then that could be a weapon, right? Um, I'm wondering if she has to intend to touch them. So, like, could they just like tie her up and then just like drag people to her and like how are they going to use her basically? Are they going to make her hate the people and try to kill them? Are they going to make her forget that she has the power to kill them? um I'm just unsure of like, are they going to convince her to like join their side? Are they going to force her to where she has to go around touching people or whatever? It sounds so weird. Anyway, um, I'm not exactly sure what sort of mode that they could use her as a weapon in like a normal society. But then again, I don't know the type of dystopia and what type of technology that they have, and I'm not exactly sure how her powers work. So like, is it her skin itself that is going to be like deadly? Like if they like chopped her finger off and threw it at somebody, would they die? I don't know. Does she have to intend to does she have to like know it that she's gonna kill them? Is it like her choice? It seems like no, because it seems like she's afraid of touching people. And so it seems like to me that she can't help it, like she accidentally does it. I wonder if her power is tied to her emotions. And so that's going to be my first big guess for this book, is that I think that her power is somehow tied to her emotions. Either emotions make it stronger or emotions make it out of control for her. And I think that her emotions are going to be tied to Mr. Aaron Warner over here. So I think that they're going to be using him to get her in some sort of state to where she can be used as a weapon. I'm wondering if this is my next guess, is that there's a radius to her power so that like if her emotions are really high, she doesn't have to touch people. They just come close and they'll die. Or some sort of I don't know, some sort of mechanism where her power is tied to her love for the love interest, which I'm sure is going to be Aaron, or maybe her emotions like fear, somebody she loves being in danger. I'm not really sure, but that's my biggest guess for this book. Um, I don't really know where it's going to lead me, and I'm really excited to read it because even if I don't end up liking it, because I know a lot of people are like Shatter Me is overrated or whatever, but even if I don't end up liking it, it has to be an interesting story at least because it could not have gotten that popular if it wasn't at least somewhat original. And even the premise itself, very interesting, very cool. And I'm starting with the first one. I'm gonna read the novellas. I have Destroy Me, in fact, Destroy Me and Fracture Me. And I'm gonna read those and then finish out at least the first trilogy. As long as I like the first book, I'm gonna try to finish out the first trilogy. And then the rest of the books, I'm not sure yet. Some people say they go off the rails. Some people say they're amazing. I'm just gonna have to decide for myself whenever I get to that point. Okay, so that's Shatter Me. That's my prediction. Powers tied to emotions, emotions tied to air and water, and then some sort of radius to her power, some sort of out of control aspect that they can extract from her to make her a weapon. Okay, so the next book that I'm really, really excited to read, and my sister has read it because I recommended her Six of Crows because I have read Six of Crows a very long time ago, and she read the entire Grishaverse, and it is going to be Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo. So, Shadow and Bone is the beginning of a trilogy that is part of the wider Grishaverse, which includes the trilogy and then the two duologies. Um, I have heard a lot of people say that they did not like Shadow and Bone, that Six of Crows is, way better, and Shadow and Bone is just like meh, like just read it just to get through it, just to, get to King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, which are also really supposedly supposed to be very good. Now, my sister enjoyed all of them, and I trust her taste pretty well, so I am still very, very excited to read it. I really like the world that Shadow and Bone is set in. I like the Russian, and there's a lot of really interesting um, cultures that she incorporates that are beyond just the regular medieval, like England sort of fantasy. Um, she has like more than just like Greek, Roman, all those things. I really, really enjoy having those other cultures in there. And like you can see here, like the little swirly tops that are kind of like the Taj Mahal. Very, very cool, very fun little like setting. Anyway, I love how she writes her characters in Six of Crows. I love how she writes romance. Causing an edge forever. Um, but yeah, Shadow and Bone, my biggest prediction. I really don't know anything about it. I guess I should read the back. Okay, I'm gonna read the back. Alina Starkov doesn't expect much from life. Orphaned by the border wars, she is sure of only one thing: her best friend Mal and her inconvenient crush on him. Until the day their army regiment enters the fold, a swath of unnatural darkness crawling with monsters. That's not a sentence, is it? When the convoy is attacked. Sorry, I got so confused there. Until the day their army regiment enters the fold, a swath of unnatural darkness crawling with monsters. When their convoy is attacked and Mal is brutally injured, Alina reveals a dormant power not even she knew existed. Ripped from everything she knows, Alina is taken to the royal court to be trained as a member of the Grisha, the magical elite led by the mysterious Darkling. With Alina's extraordinary power in his arsenal, he believes they can finally destroy the Fold. Now Alina must find a way to muster her untamed gift and somehow fit into her new life without Mal by her side. But nothing in this lavish world is what it seems. As the threat to the kingdom mounts and her dangerous attraction to the Darkling grows, Alina will uncover a secret that could tear her heart and her country in two. Okay. So that didn't make a lot of sense to me. I think I get confused by the wording, but I do know what the Grisha are. They're like the only, as far as I know, they're the only magic wielders in this universe, and they're heavily persecuted by some groups. I remember that being a plot in the Six of Crows. So I think that part of the plot will definitely have her being or her like group being persecuted. I also think that there's going to be a plot where maybe Mal, whenever he finds out about her power, he kind of like just betrays her, disowns her, or like doesn't want to be with her anymore. I think that that's just a very common way for that to play out because um, it says that she discovers it. So I just think that if Mal's going to be her best friend, then maybe that's what's going to happen. It does say he's brutally injured, so I don't know if he'll even be able to do that. I don't know how injured that means, but that's my first guess. And then my second guess is that the Darkling, I cannot help. And I don't know if y'all have seen the show Once Upon a Time, but every time I hear the Darkling, I think of the Dark One, which is like Rumpelstiltskin. And so I just imagine him like making deals and stuff. So I imagine him trying to make like a deal with Alina that ends up being like kind of putting her in a hard position. Um, I don't have very good predictions for this book, and I also know some things because of what my sister has talked about. And like said just sort of on the like not spoiling but just sort of talking about the book like as pitching it to me like telling me what I'll like and what I won't like. There's a character she talks a lot about which is Nikolai. I don't even know if he's in this one, but I'm hoping that he is because all she talks about is Nikolai and how amazing he is. So I don't know. But yeah, I think my biggest guess is definitely going to be there's going to be a some sort of deal that she has to enter, some sort of like magical selling of her soul, if you will, some sort of deal with the devil that she has to do. And I also think, again, that there's going to be a betrayal, probably by Mal, her best friend, and that she's going to have to like either deal with that and maybe they reconcile, or he's going to become the villain of the story, basically. And there's definitely going to be tension between Mal and the Darkling over her because it seems like they both have sort of a thing, maybe like a love triangle thing. Yeah. I this one's stumping me. I absolutely have no idea, but this is such a pretty copy. I just wanted to say like this is so pretty. I love the designs on the letters and stuff. It's so cool. I did calligraphy for a little while, like a few years ago, and I just love looking at the letters. I think they're so pretty. All right. So that's Shadow and Bone, and then my next one is going to be Golden Sun. Now, I know that several of my subscribers are subscribers because I made some Red Rising videos and I've got Red Rising fans out there, men, women. I know Red Rising is often seen as like a men's series, but let me tell you, as a girl who loves romance and who loves romantasy, this book, not this one, but Red Rising was absolutely amazing. And I hate when people say Hunger Games in space because it's really not. And there's so much more, and it's a completely different story. But even if it is, Hunger Games in space is awesome. Okay. So anyway, Golden Sun, I've heard, has a very, very different tone to it. So a lot of people say it gets way, way, way better. Very, very few times have I heard someone say they only liked the first book. Everyone says the first book, meh. Golden Sun and Morning Star are absolutely amazing. And I have the entire series here, all the way up to Lightbringer. I bought them all because I love Pierce Brown's writing. And I've heard so much about it. I was like, I know I'm going to want to read these. So, Golden Sun is kind of intimidating for me because I've heard that there are a lot of characters. But you know what? I can do it. I'll take notes. Maybe I'll get a little notebook and write out the characters or something. I definitely don't think that I could have done this series on audiobook. Even the first book, I don't think I could have done it on an audiobook. I just can't focus, keep everything in my mind that well, and not seeing them spelled out and stuff. I know I would get the names confused. So, we left off at the end is Darrow becomes the or Darrow. He becomes the leader, not the leader, but like the protege, the mentee, the almost like adopted son of like the biggest bad gold, who's like that's like the ruling class or whatever in the on the planet on Mars, and he's like commanding like ships, and he has like this really really long revenge plan that he hasn't really acted on yet. It's very very interesting. And then we have some allies. We have Severo, who I'm pretty sure knows what's going on. I think he knows that Dara might be red or might be modified or might have some sort of ulterior motive, but we're not sure. We're not like sure. There's some details that I think that I need to go back and remind myself of. Daniel Green has a really great like summary. I don't know if y'all watched Daniel Green, but he has like a really really good Red Rising summary that came out like a month ago. And so I think I need to watch up to Golden Sun to kind of get like a recap on everything. But I'm gonna read the back really fast. Sorry, I keep getting off track. I wipe the tears from my face, anger replaced by purpose. There must be another way, a better way. I have seen the cracks in their society, and I know what I must do. And it has nothing to do with bombs and plots and revolution. What terrifies gold is simple, cruel, and as old as mankind itself, civil war. He seeks justice. To free his enslaved people, Darrow has infiltrated his world's brutal ruling class on a mission to destroy them. And though the only path to liberation is revolution, he must strive not for vengeance, but for a hopeful rebirth. He must live for more. So I can already, I'm like getting goosebumps like just reading it. I can already see a theme just from the back that I think is going to be a big struggle for him is his struggle for immediate vengeance over what happened to Io and what has happened to the lies he's been told his whole life and what's happened to his people and how they've been oppressed. He's going to want immediate, painful revenge that he knows would end in more bloodshed and no actual changes, or it would end up being bad for everyone. Another thing that we already started to see in the first book was him realizing that the Golds are people too, and they're not all just pure evil monsters, which that's a very, very common theme in books. The big bad is not actually, there's like this ulterior, they've been grown up in this society, they've been taught to be this way, they have their own problems and pressures, and society is like almost as oppressive on them in some ways. Um so I definitely think that that'll continue. As for a specific plot, I am so lost because the only thing that I know of that's still, I don't know, the only thing that I can see is there's the Sons of Ares. Those are the like rebel group that ended up kidnap or not kidnapping, but like taking Darrow and turning him into a superpowered gold, convincingly gold person. Like they body modified him. He looks completely different. And they were also the ones who like hacked into the broadcast and made sure that Io, his wife's death, was broadcast, and that she was like a martyr. And I think that there's going to be a big plot where the Sons of Ares are not necessarily the good guys, because these books are really, really good. There has to be some more moral ambiguity. I know it's going to happen. So I think that the biggest thing is he's going to start getting orders from Ares. He's going to start doing things like spy type stuff. I think he's going to like secretly like plant bombs, or get people in trouble to where he's going to start destroying them from the inside out, which kind of, it's like the beginning of A Court of Wings and Ruin, if you've read it, like kind of what the main character is doing. I don't want to spoil it because I didn't make a spoiler warning for Akatar, so I won't spoil it. But I do think that that kind of reminds me of what I think is going to happen in this book. So I think he's going to be destroying things from the inside out. I think that there's going to be a big plot with Mustang because I can already tell that she is headed to be his love interest. She is his love interest. I mean, um, but I also think that he can't fully trust her, and he doesn't know exactly where she stands on everything. I don't know where she stands on everything. I don't know exactly what's up with Mustang. I mean, she seems really cool and very, very smart, but I don't know how she's going to react to the whole rebel thing. So I think he's going to be trying to keep it a secret from her. I think that at a certain point, there is going to be something that Ares, the Sons of Ares, the rebel group, either asks him to do to her or does to her in some way that leaves her hurt in a way that she doesn't deserve or in a way that wasn't necessary. And Darrow is going to turn on his rebel group that created him. I think he's going to be like he's a manufactured messiah figure of the Sons of Ares, where he's going to come in and revolutionize everything, and he's going to turn on the people who created him. And I think that's going to be a really, really interesting sort of turn of events. That's my big like guess. I have a hard time picking out specifics because again, this world is so much bigger than it started out as. It started out as this little colony of people underground, this like singing, dancing people, very Irish, very I don't know, it started out so small and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger during the first book. And now there's like planets, like there are starships. Like we don't know how big and how the stakes are going to be. I don't know exactly how the hierarchy works on other planets. Um I don't know if there are other rebel forces in other ways, or if there's like factions in within the Sons of Ares, or sort of other entities that may come involved. So I just really have no idea what's gonna happen in this book, but I'm like so excited to read it. I probably will not be reading this soon because I'm going to finish. I just started Tower of Dawn in Throne of Glass, and I'm gonna finish Tower of Dawn, and I'm gonna read Kingdom of Ash because I don't think I can read Throne of Glass and Red Rising at the same time. They're too epic. The scale is like too big, and it's too they're too good. Like I want to be able to enjoy one completely, and then I'm gonna go back to the Red Rising series. So yeah, those are my predictions. Mainly, Mustang is going to be end up being an unfortunate victim somehow, and Dare is going to turn against the rebel group, and there's going to be a sort of struggle within him against vengeance and sort of actually making a better world. So I think that's mostly all I can glean from this book, and that's probably pretty obvious. And I feel like I don't have any like really cool or interesting predictions for this one because that just seems like the natural way the story is going to go. But how exactly they're going to carry it out, I have no idea. Okay, so I only have one more, and it is Sunrise on the Reaping. I've avoided I've avoided trailers, and I have avoided hearing really anything about the book. I've avoided like the movie trailers. Obviously, there are some things that I know is going to happen. I know I think nobody's going to survive the games except Haymitch because, I mean, that's just what happens. Um, I know he's going to be traumatized and people are going to die and he's going to be drunk and everything that happens before we meet Haymitch in the Hunger Games. And I just finished listening to the audiobook of the Hunger Games, which was absolutely amazing. I loved the audiobook. The narrator was so good. Tatiana Maslany. Not the first set of audiobooks, not those, but the newer ones. They're very good. And the way Haymitch sort of starts out in there is what is going to be the result of what happens in this book. And I've heard that much, like I know that. But as for what exactly happens, I think I don't think that he is going to necessarily be in love with the girl who goes in with him in the games. I think that we're going to switch that up because I feel like that's happened so many times. I just don't see that happening. I think he's going to be in love with someone outside of the games. And I think that that person is going to be trying to help him while he's in the game somehow. I don't know. I'm having a hard time coming up with ideas for this one. I don't know how it's going to end, but I know I'm going to be sad and I know I'm going to cry. There is no, on this book, I don't see anything on the back except when you've been set up to lose everything you love, what is there left to fight for? Which, oh my gosh, Suzanne Collins, why would you say that? That is already very scary to me. Let me look in the inside and see if there's a blurb. I don't see one. Oh, here's one. Okay, it's in the inside cover. As the day dawns on the 50th annual Hunger Games, fear grips the districts of Panem. This year, in honor of the Quarter Quell, twice as many tributes will be taken from their homes. Back in District 12, Hamish Abernathy is trying not to think too hard about his chances. All he cares about is making it through the day and being with the girl he loves. When Hamish's name is called, he can feel all his dreams break. He's torn from his family and his love. So yeah, he's torn from his love. I don't think she got reaped. Anyway, shuttled to the capital with the three other District 12 tributes, a young friend who's nearly a sister to him, a compulsive odds maker, and the most stuck-up girl in town. As the games begin, Haymitch understands he's been set up to fail, but there's something in him that wants to fight and have that fight reverberate far beyond the deadly arena. Ooh, I got goosebumps reading that too. This is gonna be so good. I'm so scared, and I'm scared to watch the movie. And I almost don't want to make these predictions because I know whatever Suzanne Collins has is probably going to be better than what I can guess, and I really don't want to guess what it actually is. Not that I think I will. Not what it is. I mean, anything that might be in there. I don't know. I think it's so. I kind of forgot about the quarter quell. So it's double the tributes. I'm pretty sure they mentioned how Haymitch was able to. It's been a while since I've read the books. I'm reading through them right now. I just finished the Hunger Games. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure they mentioned in the main trilogy how Haymitch was able to beat them he used the force field somehow. That's like around the arena. So I know that's going to be part of it. Okay, okay, here's my prediction. I think Haymitch is not going to want to win the games. And I think that's going to be the great tragedy. I think that he is going the whole time he's going to be working toward a conclusion or someone winning that he wants to win. And I think that him winning will ultimately be it'll be the same way that that person dies. I don't know how to describe it. I think it's Maisie that gets drawn up with him because, or yeah, like reaped with him because I think she's gonna be the one who's like a sister because from the movie posters, it's him and the blonde girl. I'm pretty sure that's Maisie. So I think that he's not gonna want to win. He's gonna be doing everything for Maisie to win. Um, and I think that when he wins, it's gonna. I mean, it's gonna break him. Like I don't know. I don't know how else to like guess. Ugh. I do think it's interesting the line that says when you've been set up to lose everything you love. Because that I feel like that implies a little bit more than the normal, like, oh, you're a tribute, like you're gonna lose everything because you're gonna die or whatever. I think that implies almost that if he wins, he also loses everything he loves. And I know that's what happens because there's no one he loves in the Hunger Games. And that's so sad. I don't know. I'm really really scared to read this book. Anyway, so I don't have a lot of good guesses for this. I think that there's going to be some sort of way that he might be not a rebel, but like he has some sort of thing that the capital has against him. Maybe his games are rigged. I That's a pretty common thing I feel like that people theorize on is whether the games are rigged. But maybe his are like obviously rigged, and maybe that like if he wins, he still loses everything. Like it's almost like a losing battle, and so his only goal is to help Maisie, I'm assuming, win. And when she doesn't, and he wins instead, he's gonna have really, really bad survivor's guilt. He's gonna hate himself, and I know whoever he's in love with is also something's gonna happen to her, or she'll betray him. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? But then I feel like if the one he really loved betrayed him, then she would end up in the actual Hunger Games. And the only person I know of that's like his age is like Effie and Coin, but I don't think he's in love with Effie. Maybe I don't know. I always shipped them in the first movie before I read the book. I was like, he mentioned Effie, which was kind of stupid. I don't know. There's so much more to those books. This is sort of a rant. Like I'm done with the guesses, but this is sort of an interesting rant. There's so much more to those books than the love triangle. And I remember when I was like really young. I think I read them too young because I remember being like, Peter Gale, like whatever. And there's so much more to it. It's not about the story isn't about Katniss and what well it is about Katniss, but it's not about whether she chooses Peter or Gale. Um, and there's a lot of things about each of them. You know, I don't know. Gale Everyone hates on Gale, and I don't think he is a horrible, horrible person. Um, I know, hot take. But I also don't think that he was right for Katniss, and I don't think he was right for pretending like Katniss owed him a chance in a relationship. Um, that felt really icky to me. But I do think he was kind of overzealous in some ways where he couldn't see the full picture, and the aspect of performance, which is a big big part of the Hunger Games. Like the Hunger Games is all about performance, is all about almost like reality TV. I think that could not his mind he could not bear her performing, and he couldn't let himself perform and stand back and sort of influence things in a more subtle way. I think he was very like out there and like revolutionary. He's like, I'm gonna blow him up, whatever. To the point where he put people in danger, and I don't know. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, I don't think he's a bad person. I think that's just who he is. And I don't think him and Katniss were ever meant for each other. Um, anyway, that's just a long rant. And I really don't know because it's been a while since I've read the books, and it's been a while since I've watched the movies. I'm gonna listen to Catching Fire as soon as it comes available on my Libby. And maybe I'll make a video about Gale because I think he's a very, very interesting character, and I think that the controversy around him has become very interesting. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today, y'all guys. This has been really fun. I am so excited to read these books. Don't tell me if I got them right. Don't tell me if I got my predictions right or wrong. Just I don't know. Just watch, and if it's maybe I'm way off and it's absolutely hilarious. Maybe I am right on the spot, and you're like, how did she know? I promise I did not know anything about these books except what I told you and what I read on the back. So I don't know. We'll see. Happy reading.